That's what gossip does, really. It just kills the person we know and replaces them with somebody else. It's a form of murder, and it's a form of cowardly murder. We're actually assassinating people from ambush when we gossip about them. They have no ability to defend themselves or to correct the record. Revelations 20, if you care to scan through it, contains a verse that tells us that cowards will not enter the kingdom of heaven. And that's what gossips are. If you doubt me, the next time somebody comes to you bearing gossip, tell them that you would like to take them and the two of you go together to the person being gossiped about and tell them to their face what's being said. Note their reaction. I will bet you $1 to a dime they duck and cover. It would be nice in the case of my friend to say that all is well that ends well. But again, character is its own reward, good or bad. He tried to get a meeting with the woman to work through the damage she had caused him and get to the heart of it and resolve any issues between them. When she declined to meet or respond to him, he actually sent her a letter, which she never responded to. So ultimately, he let the matter drop. Many years later, however, this woman ended up leaving the church. What happened was the leadership of the church confronted her with some gossip she was engaged in, this time about the minister of the church. And there was enough evidence to support their sitting down with her. Again, she accepted no responsibility. She ended up leaving the church and moving on. So, if you're being gossiped about, what do you do? Well, first of all, we need to look at the Bible. In Matthew 12, verses 36 and 37, Jesus himself is talking, and he said, we're going to have to give an account for every idle word that comes out of our mouth. We've all heard of the Ten Commandments. Most of us have not actually read them, let alone memorized them. But Commandment 9 in Exodus 20:16 says, you will not bear false testimony against your neighbor. And your neighbor is anybody who's not you. I used to look at that passage and think, well, it's talking about going to court and lying about somebody under oath. Much broader than that. It's anything we say about somebody and the standard we use to make judgments about people. In James, the book of James in the Bible, chapter 4, verses 11 and 12, it said, be careful what you say about people. The standard you use is going to be used against you, and you're invoking the entire weight of the law, God's law, not your judgments, on yourself when you use an improper standard. And the standards we use in judging others, and you can't gossip without making judgments, those standards are never accurate. So I would encourage you and myself to be careful about what comes out of your mouth, the judgments we make about people, and the judgments we permit others to make about people in our presence. This has to do, like a lot of things, with mercy. Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount, blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Mercy means we stop making judgments about people. And by practicing a system of mercy, we obtain mercy for ourselves. In the Lord's Prayer, Jesus said, pray that God will forgive us as we forgive others. Being forgiven as we forgive others means really, if we want to experience mercy, we have to practice mercy. And a lot of that has to do with our tongue. If you're being gossiped about, how do you deal with it? Here's a principle, and it's a very difficult principle, but it works. The best remedy for gossip, particularly if you're the one being gossiped about and you either sense it or know it, is to be strong enough in your own character to ignore it. It sounds like we should correct the record or fight back, but as soon as you do that, you're buying into a system of judgment, not of mercy. If we practice the discipline of letting these things go, it's very, very difficult initially. Forgiveness is difficult. We don't want to forgive people by nature that offend us. But if we choose to forgive day by day, it gets easier. And at the end of the day, we find out we've forgiven ourselves. We've experienced mercy. So I would encourage you to be strong enough in yourself by the power of God, if you're a Christian, to ignore gossip. Let it roll off. If somebody brings to your attention something that's inaccurately said about you, go ahead and correct the record, but let it stop there. If you develop the discipline of not responding to this stuff or reacting to it, it does get easier, and it's something you don't carry around in your inner person, and it loses its punch. And when the impurities in our heart and mind start losing their punch, that's where we find peace as a byproduct, and we live free. So I hope you'll chew on this and put some of it into practice, and I appreciate your taking the time to watch this. Hopefully we'll see you again.